Crouch. Bind. Set.
Joe presents the House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Guess who's back? Back again. Yes, we're back.
We're not starting the show.
Tell a friend.
No, we're not
Yes,
starting.
we're back.
No.
Guess who's back?
No.
Guess who's back? It's quite hard to believe that we've got a second series, in the words of Alan Partridge.
I know.
What a second series we have.
It was quite an intense meeting, wasn't it? We didn't have to make anyone smell my cheese, but it was. Do I get a second series? I've managed to keep on the production company.
Or Castrol GTX on the back.
We've kept him in.
How are you?
I'm all right.
I've missed you, actually. You're looking well.
I'm all right. Actually.
Withered?
No, I haven't withered. I was heavy when I finished.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't played for ages. And I then, using my wife's kind of all her training knowledge and nutritional ability, I got down to about 112.
Small.
And then I had a bit of a enjoyable stomach. So I was sitting around about 115 at the moment, quite lean, doing different kinds of training, finding retirement exciting, bizarre. I've had no rugby in my life, apart from when I kind of...
You didn't have very much last year either.
No, I didn't.
It's a slight depressing fact.
Don't, need to be personal straight away. We've got 44 shows to do.
Yeah, let's go slowly.
But I have, it's weird. The only time I feel bad is if I see, like, on Instagram, England, or I speak to lads and I see, like, Saints boys train, I get a little bit, like, melancholy, like, I'd quite like to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's out of my mind and I forget all about it. And then we're like, back, and then it just it's a bit of a roller coaster.
You brought along a friend today.
I have. I'm very excited,
Would you like to
actually.
introduce your friend to everybody, the nice people at home?
So this is the legend, the hero, the man, Tom Wood, Wilderness Wood, sort of a house-trained caveman / international rugby player / unbelievable back row player, teammate, captain, colleague, unbelievable with a bow and a wood chipper.
For real?
Oh.
What is your weapon of choice in the heat of the moment?
A bow at range and then a cookery if you get close.
Really?
I'll disembowel
Do you
the
possess
cookery.
both?
Yeah. I got a cookery from my brother. He went to Nepal and brought it back for me.
Is that the Gurkha's knife?
Yeah, so I got that real sharp, and that if that comes out, I've got to draw blood. So that stays sheathed until it's game time.
You do know. Yeah, I know. Like you sit back.
up a little
You have
straighter.
to understand that I am like perceived on social media and everything else. That you're like, oh, man's man, like lad. I am a pathetic example of a man in comparison to Tom Wood. Like, I don't think I'm not overplaying.
So we are
it.
looking at reversal at the three stages of man.
Yeah.
Almost like the beards. I'm fairly tight.
Yeah.
You've got a little bit Viking.
Yeah.
Is that deliberate?
Well, he's made me look a bit like a devil. He's tapered it. My barber's unbelievable. He's tapered it because he makes that look all right.
And yours is beautifully sculpted.
Yeah.
And has that been done with the bones of a I don't know, a slain animal, a slain dragon?
I'm going big with the beard this year, I think. So
you got, like,
I might
proper-
put like a bead in it or something.
Nice.
Like a proper Viking beard, and I might get this
You've
real.
you've tightened in the sides as well.
Yeah, so I might tattoo one side and then braid the back.
Right.
Like you're not sure he's been sitting. Like he's pretty much deadly serious. Like this could happen. Like I'll give you an example. So we'll come on to some of the other things that he can do. Now we're talking it up a little bit, but it's like even when he came to grow a beard, he grew a beard about 5 years ago, and it wasn't just enough to grow a beard. It was like he undertook this as a project. It was like dyed. It was like measured. It was like
Waxed and oiled. And
it was like it basically was treated better than my
wood.
Yeah. It
Like
was
literally, it's like looking after antique wood.
Yeah, but it's just something
French
nobody can
polish.
Yeah, someone can't do one thing. People just want to do one thing and do it well. Like, he will literally go into it to the nth degree. Like if you went, can you change a plug? He'll become an electrician.
Right.
Just to change a plug.
Well,
Where does that come from?
I just got a bit of an obsessive personality, I think, really. So, like, whenever it comes to anything new, I get really frustrated if I can't do anything. So, if I can't do it, I just think, well, some other Herbert learned how to do that. You don't have to be.
I can and I will.
Yeah. So
Can
I'm just
you-
like, well, who changes your plugs? Who does the gas? It's not like Superman, is it? Someone just taught them how to do it. So I just get online, and YouTube's your friend. Although you've got to be wary that you don't go, take the wrong advice.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good starting point. And then, a few manuals and just have a read, and then just trial and error to start pulling stuff apart till you understand it, and then put it back together.
Just like that.
But I'll give you an example. Like, in camp, most people are boys are resting in the afternoons, like 2 till 4 when we're in England camp. And Woody would just be sitting upstairs in his room tying knots, learning to tie knots, just like knot after knot after knot, walking around with this knot. And then you just hear this like, shh, 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 you'd be like, what is he doing? And they'd be like, just sharpening things, just teaching each other.
I forgot I did that.
Yeah.
I used to bring all my sharpening gear
quite
to camp and just sit in there. I just brought all the kitchen knives and all my hunting knives and stuff, and then just sit and sharpen them in camp when I was bored in between.
And when you say all the knives, how big a collection are we talking?
Like 15, 20 knives or something.
You know, like when you there's garages. You remember that old Home Improvements and that guy. You remember the TV series Home Improvement with that guy? I can't remember. And he had his
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen, yes, he's got Tim Allen. Home Improvement. He's got a garage, and it's like everything's on there.
Yeah,
it's like you know the best thing about being a sportsman sometimes is like you'll get a person to like someone will sponsor you, so they'll ring you up via Instagram. And go, or message you, go, look, we'd like to send you something.
Yeah.
Right, so someone like Still contact Wood, and he's like, yeah, I'll have the red tree destroy the red tree destroys 17,000. They're like, well, we're just going to give you this one, and it's like a lorry mounted chainsaw that takes 17 people to do it, and he's got one of them. It's like terrifying.
Put it to good use.
Yeah, I mean, you exaggerate a little bit there, but I've got some pretty serious chainsaws. Yeah,
You have got a mega chainsaw that is longer than me.
well, yeah. Yeah, but trees are longer than you. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point having. If I don't measure
Pen
trees by Haskells, it's not like you know.
How many Haskells to a tree?
We're up and running. Away we go.
We are.
Series 2 of House of Rugby. Coming up over the next hour, we're going to talk about your career.
Cool.
Looking forward to that. Your relationship with Hask.
Yep.
Good. We're going to look ahead to England against Wales on Sunday at Twickenham. You coming to that one? No. You're going to do one.
We don't know the team yet, do we?
We know the squad, but not the team.
I've actually
But is it even a 23-man squad, or is it like
It's a 33-man squad to get ready.
Okay.
I've actually pulled out of that one today
Why?
because I've double booked myself.
Right,
I'm
good.
attending a wedding, so you won't see me at all.
Won't be seeing you at all. That's a shame.
Basically.
We're going to analyse some of Eddie Jones' decision-making as he prepares his squad for the World Cup. A World Cup we're going to be at 3 weeks in Japan. Full steam ahead, Tokyo. We're going to be doing some live shows. Details on that as we go. We're also going to be doing some live shows in Tokyo. So if you're heading out to the World Cup, come and play with us. And we're going to have much more information as we move into the autumn as well. Are you ready for this? It kind of feels like the whole thing's gone up a gear a little bit. Like last year we were sort of muddying about, and now...
Expectation, yeah. I do feel there's a level of expectation. I think I'm really enjoying... Obviously, sometimes, it's 50-50 if I come across someone in the street and they recognise me, whether they're going to say you're a bell end or whether they're going to be nice. And actually, I'm getting still people coming up going, mate, absolutely love House of Rugby, love your podcast. And it's such an interesting demographic of I say demographic, middle-class white people, really, but from varying ages of it coming up.
Rugby to a T.
Rugby to, yeah, exactly. Coming up and saying how much they love the show. So I think Series 2, I'm very excited to see where we go. I have one reservation, one concern.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit... we didn't talk a lot about rugby in Series 1.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to actually start watching it. You don't reckon? I have a little bit. I'm doing something with Opta, actually. I've got this, they've given me... So I can watch the games and everything else. So I'm kind of quite keen to do that.
What are you going to do with that information?
Well, I thought we could have some detailed conversations. I just checked with Tom if he'd seen any of the Rugby Championship stuff. No? So we're fine. We don't have to worry about that.
Do you watch any rugby when you're not doing rugby?
Rarely. I think when I first started out, I saw it as kind of my responsibility to be up to date with everything, use it as as a tool to grow and learn, watch all the best players, be current on your analysis and watching all the that's gone out the window now.
No, you're just watching Men and Motors and how to build a bridge in an afternoon.
I just get home and just get in the workshop or under the car and just start pottering and go out shooting and fishing. And I've got 3 kids, so I'm busy with that as well, So yeah, I tend to just find that in order to preserve my enthusiasm for actually training and the stuff I do enjoy, I need to down tools from rugby in between.
Do you enjoy rugby more now you've got more going on outside?
Yeah, I do think it's. I'm excited to get back to it rather than if you have a week off. I had just a break in pre-season last week, some family time, some of my hobbies and stuff like that. But then I'm actually I'm buzzing to rip back into training now. Whereas if I'd have spent all week stretching and doing hands in the garden, enthusiasm would just go.
It's interesting after one day of them flogging you just want to go back to that week off again.
Yeah. Doesn't take long.
Don't lie to the viewers. Let's tell them the absolute truth. You go, I'm really enthusiastic. Oh my God, we've done a load of conditioning and they've run us into the ground. My body felt worse than it did before I finished the season. Let's wrap this up and go home.
Start again. How is it? So 32.
Yep.
How's this pre-season been relative to?
I think when you're in the middle
22.
of it, in the thick of pre-season, you're always thinking along the lines of, wow, this is the hardest one we've ever done. I reckon this is the most brutal pre-season. But I think you think that every year, and it's just the mindset of being in the thick of it.
Do you know how to cut corners now? I mean, can you get away with?
I've
going
got a
inside
level
the
of
codes?
seniority that means if I can, legitimately, I've got bad Achilles and things like that, and if I can say to the coaches,
everyone needs one of those.
yeah,
Don't they?
I basically say to the coaches, line outs this afternoon, not for me.
Yeah.
And I've got the luxury as a senior player to do that a little bit now. Like if a new academy kid comes in and says that, it's pipe down, mate, get out of there, and that's just the way it works. But I'm in a position now where I want to lead from the front as a senior player and someone that's been there and done it. I don't want to be shirking my responsibility, but if I need to manage something that's going on, I've got that luxury a little bit, and the coaches kind of give you that freedom. So,
but you had a great season as well last year as well.
Yeah.
You went from, you had that little bit of like an injury concern with your pelvis thing, and then you kind of got back in, and you absolutely killed it for a thing as well. So it's like you're coming off a good bit of form. I
think that injury, whilst I've never taken rugby for granted and I've always enjoyed it, it's always been important to me, and I've never been like, I've always really appreciated the position I'm in. But I think that gave me like a renewed sense of, I'm perhaps not long for the game now.
What do you reckon?
And hopefully a couple more years.
Yeah.
If I can do that on my terms, have two more really good years.
Would you do America or Japan or a?
Never say never, but it's not on my mind to do something like that now. No, I'd like to.
I'd like knives through custom.
I was going to say, good hunty, shooty, fishy. And
but you're never going to carry. He wouldn't.
I would go to America, but not necessarily to play rugby. Just to
shoot a bear in the face or something.
No, I think if I could do 2 more years at the top of my game, still playing a good standard and playing for Saints and professionally and everything else, then I'll bow out gracefully, hopefully, at the end of that.
I can just
realistically, I'm not saying that for sure, because if my body's in good shape and I feel great, and someone's offering me another deal, then who knows? But
keep doing it as long as you can.
Have you missed pre-season?
No.
Have you missed rugby?
Well, as I said, I kind of little bits of it. Like everyone keeps asking me, my friends who aren't rugby players are like, "How's your relationship with your wife?" And I'm like, "Well, good." And they're like, "Well, you're not giving anyone shit all day long. You're not unloading and performing."
Do you think that is the elastic band tightening a little bit?
No, I just think that obviously what would happen is that I'm like, so if Tom and I were together, we'd have a conversation, we'd chat, probably we'd have a joke and a laugh, but I wouldn't be in full performance mode. Walk in the changing room, there's 5 or 6 of us, we would be throwing things out there, we'd be joining in, like trying to avoid Gibbo, like all this kind of stuff. We would like be all over the place.
Yeah,
but I don't have that anymore. So I don't have anyone to abuse or like have jokes with or laugh with. There's no I'm not standing up at the front.
Chloe is like, thank God House of Rugby's back. I'm like your sponge that is just going to take the abuse.
Yeah, I mean, I've just started doing some different kind of training stuff. I've been back down training at London Shoot Fighters, doing stuff. So there's another team ethic, and obviously they're all quite hardcore fighters. So I can see like people having jokes, and I want to like join in and go, yeah, your shoes are shit, mate. What? No, I didn't say. No, I didn't. Sorry, sorry, Mr. Michael Venom Page. I'm sorry. So
sit down and be quiet.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get that kind of balance right. You know what I mean? It's like it is.
You're back in the beginner's corner.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is. I'm sort of in full apprentice mode, but. We've got a coffee group. So Ben Franks and I have kind of had this weird sort of situation where we bonded, but we couldn't
out of misery.
Out of misery, yeah, negativity. So our mini team last year was called the Negatrons. Basically, if it was to transform, you just turn yourself into a canoe or something equally miserable. And basically, we teamed up. Ben and I used to go for coffees, kind of really like our training and professionalism and all that kind of stuff. But we couldn't be more. He's not driving around in a tank in London. He's eating venison burgers with Woody and lifting weights. But we kind of had coffee clubs, and then we used to every day would be Woody, myself, Dylan Hartley, Alex Waller would go down to this coffee place in Northampton, Yellow Bourbon, and just sit and have coffees, moan about
everything.
Yeah, about
frothy sappuccino,
moaning about everything, just chatting shit for an hour is a break, and it was like a highlight. And we must have done it. We must have increased profits at this place because we were there every day, and we'd literally be like, have a session, we're like, Woody, coffee, like, yeah, and we get into his giant, because he couldn't have a normal car. He's got a Unimog, like a Mercedes Unimog, and it's like a giant thing with like winches and stuff.
It's an ex-military 1962 troop
you just
carrier.
pop out to the shops to get the milk in that, do you?
It's not my everyday car, but it comes out.
Yeah, it pretty much comes out. So we like block off the street. So we would literally just park our cars in the street, and people were like, "You can't park here." We're like, Northampton Saints, yeah, don't worry about it.
Free pass.
Yeah, so I missed that. So I tried to meet up with the guys and do that.
We've kept him in the group. We haven't kicked him off the group yet.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That is very generous.
It was, because also, you know, the rest of the other guys, when you've got WhatsApp groups, all the rest of the players write things like, long emotional things, going to see you, and then they take themselves out of the group. Everyone done it. I just wrote going, I'm not fucking leaving. I was like, I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry about it.
I need this in my life.
Yeah, I was like, I literally, unless you throw me out, I'm not going. With England,
To be fair, most people would have been kicked out. I don't know how
Yeah.
you survived. So this way, you've done all right.
Are you still chirping up, or just
Depends who's
quietly
admin, I
watching?
suppose.
not really. I mean, unless we're giving like Jamie Gibson banter for missing another team social because a friend of a friend of a friend of his once went into labour, and that's why he had to excuse. I mean, honestly, the dude's pulling stuff out of his arse now. It's like, just turn up, have a pint. Like, turn up, drink some water with a slice of lemon in it. Say you're on the gin and tonics. You know, just people. I know there's a lot of rugby people like missing team socials. It's not clever. It's not fun. It's not big. You're letting your rest of your teammates down.
Not acceptable.
It's not acceptable at any level. Like, I know there's like obviously my team bin juice that we talk about, right? Even bin juice, when it's on the piss time, they come to the front. Even the people who aren't involved, who haven't got one game, they're normally
Is there
in
one
the way.
chance to show their worth?
You can't miss out on a team social. Nobody, listen, we live in a professional world. You don't have to drink. You just got to be there.
Yeah.
Just smile. Even act drunk. Oh God, it's so steamy with it. You know, give it 20 minutes, then go home. Just can't not turn up.
Do you miss him? Does anyone miss him, or is it sort of?
We've talked about getting a kitty together to bring him in on a Monday morning for just for morale meetings. Just come in, sickle a couple of people, knock kneecaps out of a couple of the coaches, and then a little PowerPoint presentation, and then leave.
Like work experience
or
kit kind of
like
thing.
a team social secretary, something like that. Some sort of role we're going to invent.
I did try to apply for team manager. There was genuinely, for 2 or 3 of the coaches, some of the players said, mate, you should. There was the vacancy for team manager because Paul Shields is moving to, I don't know,
just up the ranks.
just up the ranks, right? I wanted to apply, and I was like, he just never let me do it. I was like, listen, I'll do you 2 days a week. I'll come in, we'll do a bit of thing, and we'll have a bit of that.
Bits and pieces.
pieces.
How much is in the kitty?
It's quite a bit.
That's
We've
30
got an official tax system there. Yeah, you got to pay tax every month. Goes into the pot. I never see where it goes. What it does, I suggested booking Haskell, but he's too expensive.
You know, we do have a tax system. This is the best thing. So
This is genuine. I'm not even joking. We've got a tax system.
Yeah.
I mean, academy players pay half.
It's like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, and it all goes into Alex Waller and Dylan's locker, and I never see it again.
yeah, honestly, but you know what? They raised so much cash last year. I won't put a figure. It would be vulgar, but honestly taxing.
5 figures?
Oh yeah.
6 figures?
No, Christ, not that. No.
High 5 figures.
Yeah.
Jeez, you could do some. You could have
That's
some
what I
fun
mean.
with that.
We
We were going to go Vegas.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas and Ibiza, but that plug got pulled on that, didn't it? But we had this thing where they literally amassed this money and were running it with an iron fist. So much so the names would be on the board, like shaming, right? And what had happened is people like Cobras, Ryan, and other guys, they thought that this would never last.
Yeah.
So what they did is the first 2 or 3 weeks, they just thought if they didn't pay, we'd all give up. And like there would be moments where they were like, you just don't even want it to fucking work. You're not even pulling along with the system. So because of that, everybody coughed up. And it was literally like,
Well, there's a discount for paying up front, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So if you just came in and went, right, there's my 12 months
Clever.
up front, you get a couple of months for free. But if you paid it monthly by direct debit, like you had to do it.
And if you forgot
Someone's
late,
really thought this
No,
through.
it was, but it was so.
But then if you
professional.
missed a month, doubled. Well, I think you had one warning, then
Yeah.
doubled, and there was people like 2 or 3 months in arrears, and it was like debt collectors come round. Boy,
Jesus.
Jamie Gibson was out with
the
his
long arm,
checkbook.
the long arm of Courtney Laws comes knocking on your locker like, "Where's the money?"
Courtney Laws is
Not just
knocking
the
on
arm,
the
by
door,
the sound of
mate.
it.
Where's the cash, bruv? Straight in the fucking locker, honestly, mate. But the thing with that,
So what actually happened with the high
well,
5
no,
figures
because
you
do
raised?
you know what? Out of any team I've ever been to, Northampton did the best. I think I talked about it before. Some of the best kind of social stuff.
Yeah.
So we would have meals out, bits and pieces, but it was just like taken care of. But there was a big discrepancy where there was one like. We basically had an official kind of team social on a Monday, but they went an unofficial kind of coaches thing and all family stuff on a Saturday. And most of the cash got mopped up, but I think there was a few question marks over it, like, you know, that old Boydie on the old Dom Perignon and stuff like that, like one for me, tipping on his head, throwing it out, because there was a few...
One for me, one for them.
Yeah, there was a few question marks that went. So we got a little bit of it. We had a good little tour around London, but... I mean, Dylan's got a new pair of trainers and a few other bits and pieces, and Sue Waller's got a new workshop because he's into Wood by Waller. If you want to follow these two on Instagram, they're a bit...
Is that a partnership?
Well, Not officially, but yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Really?
we obviously.
I've seen some of
good
your
mates
stuff.
and
You
chat
do
to-
like cheese boards and
Yeah, well, to be fair, we don't really have a remit. We just like try anything that comes along. So I basically make something that I want to experiment with. I've seen a YouTube video, I've seen an Instagram post. I'm like, I'll give that a crack and go make a 3-dimensional tumbling block chopping board or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll post it on Instagram, and then 5 people will go, "Can you make me one?" And I'll go, "Well, yeah, probably." And end up just making stuff. Or I post do a lot of chainsaw milling, which is basically slab furniture and stuff. You get a big chunk of oak and you cut the slabs off it, and you have like the live edge on it.
Yeah.
And then you put hairpins or legs on it and make coffee tables. And then someone just you post it, and someone messages you and says,
So is this now a little business?
"It's getting there, yeah."
Is this what you want to do in 2 years' time when...
I don't know if it's going to, pay the bills. I don't know if it's going to be a full-time venture, but maybe it's a combination, because I'm a qualified tree surgeon doing all my, chainsaws and tree climbing and
you
all that
really?
kind of stuff.
How does that work with your rugby insurance?
I don't generally say anything.
Disclose.
Well, that live on the podcast.
Well, yeah, sorry about that. We can sort of bleep
yeah.
that bit out.
Yeah, it's funny because
Basically, if I cut myself out of a tree and land on my head, I have to get to the rugby pitch and throw myself over the line and go, my leg.
Do you do your tree surgery in your scrum cap just in case?
Taped ears and mouth guard in. But
Do you know what I said is the best bit is you'll be like, "Woody, you're looking a bit tired today," and they'll just go, "Show me 75 foot up a tree doing things," and you're like, logging, with Ben Franks tied as his anchor man, just like
Not going
and his other
anywhere in
mate
that case.
Paul Hill, just he's not allowed to use machinery or anything else, like in case he accidentally saws his hand off or anything else. So, but he's only allowed to carry the wood. So Hilly's like his gopher, Woody's up there directing, Franks is on the line.
So it's like it's a proper little industry.
it's getting there, yeah. So I don't really know how it's going to look post-rugby. I don't know, whether that's going to be a full-time career. I like the fact that it's a hobby.
Would you like to turn it into a full-time career?
It'd be nice, yeah. It'd be nice if it got that kind of momentum. And
But to be fair, you get
Good P&P this.
legit gets paid to do the proper work, does a proper thing, mills the wood, collects it, makes the furniture, made me a load of coasters, made me a whole DJ setup.
He's making tables, chairs, cabinets, and you've got some coasters.
Yeah, but no, I asked him for some coasters.
Oh, you asked for the cabinet. Right?
Yeah,
It was
because
like a little aside.
No, they
kind
didn't
of
just
thing.
go, "Shut the fuck up, Haskell."
Have you done like a bed and a?
No, he did a whole DJ table for me. Everything, custom built shelving, holes through everything. Honestly, so the best thing is though,
This is
the only problem
incredible.
is that obviously rugby kinos, obviously love the bits and pieces, but I'm always said really, because you're limited time, you can't make 50 chopping boards, so you're better off making 5 for X amount of money.
Yeah.
But obviously also
You
probably
should be like Da Vinci, who does the original and then just has a workshop of people to make the copies.
So
I don't really trust other people to do it though. You know what I
right.
mean? So it's a bit like that. It's my baby. Like I don't want to let,
Yeah,
standards
you're going to have
drop
to
and
scale
that,
that if you want it to
you
be a
can't. The
business,
problem
though.
is that
Yeah.
when they buy it, they'll want to turn up at the house and meet. You're like, "Nah, bro, I'll send that. I'll come and collect it.
Trust me, add another 0 for the meet and greet, and suddenly you're
I'll manage that."
So I made a boardroom table. It was like nearly 4. It was like 3.5 meters by like 1.5 meters. It was massive, and it had like steel brackets because I do just teaching myself welding and stuff as well. So making like the metal brackets and big industrial like chunky wooden legs and that. I delivered it down to like Dorset with my old man. It was random, but it was I think it was pretty well received.
sort of like Action Man, but actually quite good at rugby at the same time. So Action Man Plus. Have you always been into it? Is it like something that has been an interest since you were small?
The woodwork thing is, I think, kind of the DIY side of things has been. I've always been into it. Yeah.
So I tell you the progression. The progression is on wood. Because I'm partly responsible for this.
Right.
You
Nothing-
like to take credit.
I
for
like
it.
to take
credit
credit.
where
I like to take
credit's
credit
not
for it. Yeah, I'm not to
Do
take
you want
credit.
another Guinness?
I will have another. Murray.
Muzzer's back for Series 2.
He is. Unbelievable.
Tom, would you like another one?
Yes, please.
Muzzer, if
I'm
you're
bulking
listening.
at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm not
Get
tracking my
on.
calories or anything. I'm just
Just getting
You're
massive.
just
Just
loading.
getting them in, yeah.
You're loading. Any which way.
But so basically, nothing credited to his rugby ability because he's a better player than I am. But it's so I basically when I got to we were in a camp together, England. They're going to work it out, and we were staying at a hotel, and I had brought my rifle in, a little 2.2, because I was bored and I wanted to be best behaviour, and chat wasn't flying around.
So you brought a gun to England training.
Yeah, put that in your head. Like,
Well, a
yeah.
few of the boys used to bring air rifles.
Yeah.
Steve Thompson and likes, and
Yeah.
Crofty maybe.
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to bring a.
So I used to bring air gun, and you'd hear sometimes in the afternoon, it's like of these like little targets. Boys were getting bored, right? But I brought my 2.2 in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go lamping. I'm going to shoot the rabbits on the pitch in the golf course, right?"
This is at Penny Hill Park.
No,
Just a
hotel.
generic well-known
generic-
hotel.
That might be less than 40 minutes out of London.
Yeah, a generic
fairly
five-star
built
hotel
up-
with spa accessories.
In a fairly built-up area.
No, it was not built up.
Well, it's not exactly the outback.
Rule number 1: always know your backdrop when you're shooting. Right,
Right.
you know, downhill into a bunker with 7 rabbits in it's absolutely fine. So no, I'd snuck out a couple of times. Right,
With
on
your
my
2-2
own.
rifle?
Yeah, on my own. Right, to shoot, and I was shooting.
Like, have you gone like camo?
No.
just
Stashed
don't
up to the max.
Barber.
Yeah.
Barber and cap.
Yeah, Barbara and Cat, white England
Plus
polo.
fours.
Yeah.
Striding out of Penny Hill in plus fours.
Right, lads. Right. So anyway, I wait to a certain time. Obviously, I'm not a moron. So I would shoot obviously appropriate, trajectories and everything else. But there was a load of rabbits everywhere.
Right.
So I was, terminating these rabbits on, so much so that I come back with like 6 in each hand. Like that's hard. And if they hold, I mean, I apologise if people gets offended, but
I can.
we don't really
just
care.
checking that
It was a long time
the
ago.
RSPCA.
It's a long time ago. I mean, that's what Nazis said as well. You can't use that as an excuse. I was just following orders. No, yeah. It wasn't like that. And
when we said 44 show, I think we mean 2.
yes, I'll go down the blaze of glory. But essentially, yes, I shot these rabbits, and I was taking them out, and I said to Woody one evening, I said, listen, would you like to come out? Because I'd seen him eyeing up the kind of other guys, the air rifles, or whatever, but he didn't have a gun, didn't have a shotgun. I took him out. I gave him the old lamp. Oh, mate, eyes lit up like I've never seen it. And I could see him like working, asking, how'd you get firearms? How'd you do this? Right. Next week turns up with an air gun. Right. Right. It went from air guns. He went from air guns to shotguns to rifles to loading his own ammunition to becoming like a highly trained sniper, into bow hunting, to making his own bows, into woodwork, into tree surgery, into welding, into car manufacturing, into furniture manufacturing, all off the back of just that one shooting experience. And it's basically
a lot of credit to take.
Can you validate that?
Well, it's a lot of credit to take for me wandering around the back pitch for.
Did it start? It's like it was like the blue thing that lit the blue touch paper. I'm not saying it was just a little catalyst which created the monster of the wilderness man who now can do
the
anything.
beat of the butterfly's wing.
Yeah, and it was like a progression.
What were you doing with 6 rabbits a night in your hotel room?
Oh well,
Stew.
yeah. And I would take them home in between sessions and give the stuff to my dog and take the breasts out of them and eat them. Obviously not
Rabbit breast.
We give rabbit breast. Give them to rabbit breast. No, not breast. Whatever. What did you eat with a rabbit on the
Saddle, back legs and that.
Yeah, that's it. Whatever I was eating of it. Whiz them in a blender with a fur. And the problem is I was also leaving them out the back for the foxes, because then the ultimate goal was then to shoot the foxes.
Right.
But essentially, I just gave a buffet to a fox. So,
Right.
I mean, there was about 17 of them in there. The fox was the same size as a minibus by the time I finished, because it was. So we never kind of got that far. And then obviously, I kind of dawned on me that it probably wasn't a good idea anymore, and we just all left it where it was.
You are watching and listening to House of Rugby, that is well and truly back for Series 2, brought to you by Joe, together with our very good friends at Guinness. I suppose the one credit we have done is that we're 15 minutes in and we're into Guinness 2.
Yeah, we mentioned Nazis. and
Muzzers
shooting
is
animals.
shuffling. Welcome back to the Muzzatron, everybody.
Nazis.
Did you summer well, Muzzer?
The rabbits you can cut their arm, Brett, like
Have you said hello to Murray?
yeah, we.
Yeah, well, just to everybody.
I'm just trying to ascertain. I thought I did eat that stuff off the back of a rabbit. I thought you do take the fillets out, or what? Well,
Thank you, Murray.
You just skin it and
Barmaid
just
has
pile the whole
improved.
thing in.
Yeah. I didn't do it. I just cut.
It's just not the same as like a pigeon or a...
No, but they're tiny, aren't they? But you still cook them with a bit of protein or something. Give them to the dog. Eat himself, maybe.
Do you want you landing it? You landing it?
Oh,
Between the harp and the Guinness.
Is this a thing, is it? I thought...
Yeah. No, overcooked it. Oh, not bad. Tom, you had a very wobbly start between the harp and the Guinness.
drink responsibly. Yeah.
How
Do
far
you know,
down
I
is
missed
it?
this.
I know it's nice, isn't
I
it?
don't drink a lot of Guinness in the summer.
Do you know what? I'm
More
not,
of a rosé man.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I tell you what, lads. Oh no.
Oh, no.
The angle wasn't right.
But you know,
It's not bad. It's not bad effort.
Since doing the show, all I ever order is Guinness.
Oh,
now.
sorry. Thanks very much indeed. I mean, as precision goes,
You have done it right, actually. I think the table's a bit wonky.
I'm actually just going to turn that round. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, the game is to land it between the harp and the Guinness.
In
and
one
I have
zip.
Bisected.
I've actually been done a
The half
buffalo.
of the Guinness.
I've been drinking right hand, didn't EG.
Should we talk rugby or
Yeah,
should we
fine.
keep going on?
No,
I'm good.
When did you two first meet? How old are you? Are you
I
33
think-
yet? How's it-
So-
Did I get
23.
banned or did you get banned?
Oh, that's a good start.
Well, we had a first time we played together and met and was in the same team as England.
Yeah.
2011. But we had a little scrap, Worcester versus Wasps. Not scrap, but like I've charged into a ruck and hit somebody and has taken exception and come in and. What happened? You got banned for a week, I think.
Yeah. So what happened was, do you remember Phil Vickery was basically someone was doing Vickery, and I don't know whether you belt. I never even remembered it was you doing that. This is the first time I've even linked the two up. All I remember was Phil Vickery was getting filled in by someone, and I was standing next to the referee, and I went to the referee and went, "Ref."
And then I steamed in and hit Vic.
Yeah. And I went,
and then you've piled on me.
Yeah, I piled on him, and they banned me for like leading with a flying headbutt into ruck. And they went in the bit on the sighting bit.
Basically, Vix was cheating. Right. On his
Vix
own
is
line.
the cornerstone of all of
on
this.
his line, yeah. And I can't remember who it was from a Worcester player who was in there tussling. I don't know if a punch was thrown. It was back in the days where you probably could get away with a bit of a punch.
Yeah.
And so then I've reacted and I've gone flying in, and then I think Hask was like a second or third defender, and he's gone piling in as well. And then it resulted in you getting banned, and that was my first like. This Haskell's a knobhead, isn't he?
Well, a lot of people have thought that.
Has that viewpoint changed at any point, or what did it?
I'll
What
tell
did
you-
it
I'll tell you
take for
I'll
that
tell
to
you what,
change?
like I think like we've already established like you'd think that we're like polar opposites in a lot of ways, like his social media, his bravado and all the kind of chat. You'd think like I honestly thought there's no way I'm going to warm to this guy. Like I honestly when we first got into England camp and I knew like likes of him would be in the squad, I was like, I'm basically on my guard here. If he flinches, I'm going to hit him. Like I literally walked in with that attitude. Like I was ready to fight him if he was going to fucking look at me wrong. But I just find him hilarious.
I'm
I think
beginning to get ever so slightly scared, just in case.
Yeah, but we
that like, it might be a bit extreme, but that's
I
kind
know what you
of my mindset. I'm like he's all just chat and nonsense,
Just so
and
noisy.
he's gonna say something, and it's gonna piss me off, and I'm just gonna have to whack him, shut him up early. And that was kind of my approach. But then I got there, and like he couldn't have been more supportive in terms of like playing. We were on the flank together, made my debut alongside him away in Wales, which is a pretty hostile.
Yeah.
Pretty big theatre to go into for your England debut on the opening night of Six Nations and stuff like that. So, it was just an awesome kind of tag team on the back row that I like really appreciated, and now I find him hilarious. Like I was so excited when he came to Northampton. I was like, we're gonna have so much fun, just because he just like brings so much energy to the team. I love just sitting back. I don't even get involved most of the time. I just sit back and just watch him going at it with another player or a coach or whatever. It's absolute comedy. And then obviously we've got some things in common with like the bit of the shooting and other things off the pitch as well.
being miserable.
Yeah, going for coffees, being miserable.
Have you ever had?
And
like,
I've actually come to respect, like the side of it that I didn't think I liked or would respect is like the social media stuff. It's a lot of work. Like, and now I kind of really respect how much it takes to be that kind of like belligerent with it and just go, like, keep posting clips and shit. Yeah, I'm like,
Where do you find it all?
because we talked about like my Instagram profile and stuff. That's effort to me to like, because I love doing the work, I love doing the woodwork, but to stop and take pictures or videos or capture content and talk about it, I'm like, that's just distracting from the stuff I'm doing. I want to do the stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the media. And it's hard work and it's effort, and just like even writing a caption for an Instagram post, it drains me. I'm like, I can't be arsed with this, and trying to think of hashtags and come up like make things current. Whereas like obviously he's got that down to an absolute T, and it's just a natural with it. And like, but also, like in England camp, he'd go back to his room, and you'd think it was all like he was like that 24/7.
Yeah.
Like the way he is when he's on performing mode in the team room, but then he goes back to his room and he's like proper head down, laptop, like making businesses and stuff happen, like and social media content and stuff, and I'm like, I can't keep up with that. I don't have that. So something to respect in there, I think. You not think?
That's quite
Yeah,
a
that's
nice
really
tribute.
nice, really
That's
nice.
a very
I
nice tribute. We haven't had any of those in the 31 shows
Do you know
we've
what,
done
I
so
don't
far.
know, when people are really nice to me, I don't know how
quite
to deal
interesting
with
watching you
it.
crumble.
I know I don't know how to deal with it. But I said, so like Tom's initial reaction, like I've had that all the time, especially with the England camp where you see the different characters. Like, first time I met Joe Marler and he had like red dyed hair and Johnny Hogg tattooed on the side of his head.
Yeah.
First time I met Ellis Genge, Jordan Crane, all these kind of, I could see them all. Like body language, like, I've heard about him, I've seen him do this, I know he's like that. Well, I've played against him, he's going to be a dickhead. And I just think the good thing about rugby is it attracts not good people. And if you're hard, like Tom is unbelievably hardworking, really, great player, lovely guy. And we got on like the first training session. I'm always very honest as well. Like I think if you do stuff good, you should be told that you're a good player. Like I'm not one of these people like you wouldn't compliment. I remember one of his first training sessions. in the middle of a ruck, he did his kind of trademark, picked the ball up, fucking just ran straight through the middle of the ruck, high knees, gassed someone and scored in the corner. And everyone was like, fucking hell, who's that? Like, you know, it's a big deal in the middle of, you know, first kind of training session to sort of do that. And, you know, people had said, you know, Tom and Crofty were quite similar.
Yeah.
And I was actually like, no, they're completely, like, you know, Crofty was kind of obviously unbelievable player and stuff, but Woody was like hard nosed, like, you know, because you're quite tall. He wasn't tall and wasn't like a massive unit. Obviously, he's a big guy, but just had that real physical edge and would never shy away from it.
Yeah.
So playing the back row, it was really nice. We kind of had a really nice balance together, and we actually got to. We lost that Six Nations game, but we kind of, as a back row partnership, you know, we kind of bonded through that. You know, when you get
In
put
2011.
in there. Yeah, 2011. We go. You know, we went all the way. And
There was a couple of injuries. Like I got in.
That's what
I was fortunate.
A hell of a season that year.
Well, I was really fortunate because their injuries left the door open for me. Like so Lewis Moody and Tom Croft were recovering from injuries that year. So I got the call up. I remember going to the Portugal camp in Browns and being like, "Oh, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to be around some big names here.
Yeah.
Great chance to just show like some Martin Johnson what I'm about and make a good impression." But I didn't think for a second I was going to be in the team.
Yeah.
Really, I thought I'd be fighting perhaps for a 23rd man or a bench spot. I'd love to get some involvement. Maybe Italy game, I'll get a run out or something. Jono walks up to me on the first day and says, "Starting on."
This is your first involvement with England?
Pretty much, yeah.
And
I think I'd been in
You'd done a camp, hadn't you, before?
I'd been in the autumn series, in and out the camp, doing a bit of training.
But you were still pretty wide-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Yeah. I'd been in during the autumn series. I hadn't played a minute of rugby, but I'd been in and out the camp a couple of times. Just, and then I turned up for that Six Nations camp in Browns where they do the first warm weather training in the rain. And he first gym session, he just pulls me aside and shakes my hand and just says, "Mate, you're starting. Just get your head around it. You've got 2 weeks to get comfortable with that." And obviously Hask was on the back row, and having the likes of him and Nick Easter and that alongside you with experience to.
Hume and Minty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about England. Lots of other things I want to ask you about, but very quickly, that was a real shame actually. We're going to trail the Carl Frampton TKO podcast.
Yeah, nightmare that, isn't it?
I want to pick up, obviously, Tom, on your career in just a moment or two, but you're obviously watching House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe, together with our very good friends at Guinness, back for Series 2, who'd have believed it, Alex Payne alongside James Haskell and Tom Wood. Still to come, we are going to talk about Tom's England career, we're going to talk about the England-Wales clash on Sunday, but first of all, as you've just mentioned, the TKO boys headed out to Philadelphia this week. We all hoped that they'd be building up to Carl Frampton's fight this weekend, but extraordinarily, poor Carl suffered a freak accident yesterday to his hand, which means the fight has had to be called off. As you can imagine, he is absolutely devastated. Have a listen to this.
I just feel like I've been away from my kids and summer holidays, they've been off school, I've been away. I just feel like an absolute waste, mate. An absolute waste. And money down the drain. Probably got to 30k in a training camp. Been out here in Philly about 3 and a bit weeks now, and nothing to show for it. The plan was to have this fight and fight for a world title. Yeah. So the plan is now still to fight for a world title. This fight has not happened. It hasn't happened for whatever reason. I'm not getting any younger. No. I don't want to be sitting around waiting here. I want to be involved in big fights. I want to go straight back into a big title.
Carl, obviously, from all of us, we hope you recover incredibly quickly. I know, just to paraphrase, sitting in the hotel lobby, having a coffee, someone knocks over a whopping great ornament, falls on the poor man's hand. It's broken 2 bones in his hand just a couple of hours after completing the final training session of a 10-week training camp. The big comeback. I mean, it's just utterly extraordinary. I mean, rugby players are no strangers to injury, but who was the one? Who was the bloke?
It does sound like a similar excuse that I would concoct.
Didn't somebody once pull out of a game having dropped aftershave on his foot? Who was that? That was a footballer.
No, there was Lewis Moody, who the doctor at the time said he was going to give him an injection of anaesthetic in his or something in his ankle, and he gave him the wrong thing, and he switched his whole ankle off, and he couldn't use that. There was a time the doctor asked for paracetamol, he gave me sleeping pills, and I was like, I don't think I should be taking these doctors. Oh, sorry. I was like, put your eyes back in around the wrong way.
That is unbelievably unlucky.
That is unbelievably unlucky. It's almost like it was one of the most biggest made-up stories I've ever heard in my entire life. But next time I've got a problem, I'm going to call Carl up for some sort of excuse. Obviously, I know it's true, but I believe you, but
Yeah. Have you had what's the weirdest injury you've had?
Weirdest.
Thank God it's not a chainsaw accident.
No, I've had numerous injuries.
You have had a chainsaw
Not
accident?
chainsaw. No, not chainsaw. But I've had accidents in the workshop and stuff. Yeah.
what was the time that the thing went into your hand? Was it something flicked off or like?
Yeah, so I've ripped the fingerprint off my index finger here. I was using like a chop saw, just a woodworking chop saw, and the piece of wood had a really funny angle on it, and it's incredibly hard, like dense wood, so it's got a really sharp edge on it. It's like a knife, basically.
Yeah.
And the chop saw, I made a mistake. I should have had it rested against the fence in a certain orientation, and I got that orientation wrong, which allowed the saw to grab it and flip it. So the saw grabbed it, flipped it over, and jammed my finger against the fence of the saw. So the saw blade hasn't touched me or anything. It's just the wood itself is flipped, and it's gripped my fingerprint and just ripped it against the fence and torn it off. And it is the most. I've had some horrible injuries with rugby, but that is the most painful thing I've ever done. I think it's because of all the nerve endings and stuff in the end of your finger. It just ripped the flesh like clean off my pad of my finger, and I just like makeshift. Like dressed it, I've seen it, I've gone crap, just grabbed it, squeezed it, wrapped as much tape and just bandage and that round it as I could. Gone into the club the next day and gone, I've don't know what to do about this one.
No, tell them the truth. You went into the club, bound it up, did a mall session, went, you pulled my finger off in the mall, and they've gone and treated it, and they've gone, that doesn't look like what would happen in a mall, would he?
I've had to fess up and basically say,
Did
like,
you tried?
No, it's blagging that. But I've phoned the doc and just gone, I've fucked up. I need some help. I don't really know what to do about it. But I dress it, the next day when like you've dressed it like makeshift and I've got to peel this stuff out of like this open like there's just no fingerprint there whatsoever. I did have to play with it. So like I had to train and play with it the next day
because you can't be.
So I trained. I think it was just like captain's run the next day, and then in the game on Saturday, and I've just like injected in the webbing on my finger to try and make it numb. And put like a weird splint thing over it. Just played, and it was just horrible. But when you've hurt yourself away from the club, it's not like if you hurt yourself on the pitch, you can always say, you've got to look after me now. But when you hurt yourself away from the club, you just got to go, this one's on me.
The new episode of TKO, we should mention, is going to be out very soon. That's on Wednesday morning. We've also got a new show launching called Liquid Football. With the wonderful Kelly Cates, an absolute superstar in the football world, and she's going to take you inside the dressing room with some of the biggest names in the game. You can subscribe now, apparently, via iTunes and YouTube if the Ramble game is your thing.
Just going, yeah. Sounds wicked.
Don't forget to sign up to the Facebook group as well. There are thousands upon thousands of you on there right now, and it's going to be one of the places, I'm very excited to read this bit out, one of the places where you can purchase our range of House of Rugby merchandise, which is going to be available very shortly. Are you pleased with your designs?
What's in it?
Well, we
can't reveal
some
that yet.
T-shirts at the moment, and a few other bits and pieces.
You want some
vests, summer vests.
Do guests automatically get one? Or?
Well, do you know we should?
Yeah, we will.
Do you know when Soccer AM used to give out balls on your hat-trick appearance?
Yeah.
We should have like T-shirts saying, I have survived House of Rugby.
Yeah. But we have to come up. We have to get a quote from Woody's video. We'll do him a T-shirt for that thing, like for the week period. I don't know how quickly they can turn it round, but we'll have a
limited edition
one of like we'll do 30 of a Tom Wood one. Like I sawed my finger off or something like that, and like the finger with a bit of blood, and him looking.
Do you know what I genuinely can't wait is to see your face on a what are they called?
Vest
at a Premiership game.
Oh, hope so. I hope so. That would be mega. With just the ring going, I'm a serious operator.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Never microwave more marinara. Wait, Joe Miller still doesn't understand that. He still doesn't get it. Like at the time, it's like I was like telling him, it's like he doesn't understand what you've just said.
Microwave muscle. I've never heard of microwave
Have you seen Joe's now? Because we've put him on the pedestal.
I know.
He's now.
They're so late to the party.
He's over everything on the RFU social media. It's like they've gone. Who are we going to get? Just wheel out Joe again.
He's very good at it.
He is very good. Yeah.
And he will be back with us actually later in the series. England.
Yep.
Were you a pet of Jono's?
I don't know what it means.
You
You used to call me like a breed, like
you were known as
Watson.
Coventry Tom, weren't you? Am I completely making
I
this
think
up?
you're making some stuff up. Yeah,
Good.
you might have mixed some
Guinness.
stories. I was called Cov Chav at Saints for a while.
Oh, okay.
That stuck with a couple of players. That's long gone now. But
Right.
Robin Wood, we called him. 'cause
Yeah.
Good.
But
I see what you've done there.
Hask used to call me like Wonson or Jonson because
What's Wonson and Jonson?
well, because like inevitably, whenever a new back row player, like a tall geezer comes in, a second row player comes in, like they're immediately compared to the next Martin Johnson. So I think like
See,
a
we've
Daily
done
Mail article or something was
Yeah.
like, is Wood the next Johnson kind of figure?
Yeah.
And Hask's like latched onto that breakfast straight away, and all of a sudden I'm Wonson or Johnson or the Wonsler. Wonsler I was for a while.
Were you ever
uh,
Waskell?
No,
Jas-
never. He was honestly, Jono would have had that. Like he would have called up and gone, remove that. On any association with that bloke, he would have been very upset. There were actually only good people who were good in the line out were associated.
But were you not? Did you not have his ear? Was he not quite? He was a big fan,
I
wasn't
wouldn't
he?
say I had his ear because like I was fairly new on the scene, and Jono was obviously Jono. So like,
I just remember him giving a huge amount of kudos, credit, excitement around. Well, actually, John doesn't do excitement, but
no, I think he was.
His eyes aren't painted on, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's always like he's obviously straight talking and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't mince his words and that. But whenever asked on me, I think he was always pretty complimentary. And I had. I
you went very well under him.
yeah,
under him.
I've really enjoyed my time and along that.
Can I tell you what? Can I tell you one story? Because I've talked about it
Where's
before.
he going?
You
Where's
know
he going with
it
this?
is. So Wonson, right? So we were obviously we had a team meeting once, and we were playing. This is the only time he's let himself down. It's the only time he's let himself down. Is that we had a meeting? Right, it was a forwards meeting. Right, it was Graham Roundtree's in there,
there we go.
John Wells in there, and we're playing against France. And Wells went, right, everyone, okay, right. How are we going to get poo off the ball, right? Because there's a bloke called Jean Baptiste Pooks or something, but he's like poo. He's like, right, how are you going to get poo off the ball at the back of the lineup? So we're all looking around, right? We're looking around, and it's thinking it's like a Tuesday morning. So what happened on a Tuesday morning? We'd have a North off forwards meeting, right? Bored to death about front row scrum stuff. Out, full contact North off. They'd start with maul touch, which is the worst game everywhere. Like to say hello to Wellesley Wiggy, you'd be like, good morning, right? All aboard the scrum bus, driven by Davy Wilson, right? A horrific bus conductor. So what most of these meetings were, right?
These are good days to be fair.
These are good days. So we would sit around there, and Wells would be like, right, we're playing France this weekend. Really excited. We need to get to the dark areas, head under there. Working in the low areas.
6 inches lower than everybody else.
Yeah. Do what you do, but 6 inches lower. And he's like, right, how are we going to get poo off the ball? So we're all looking at that, laughing a bit. And honestly, Woody was like, been in camp a little while, and this is his big moment. And he just went, I'll tell you what we'll do, Wellesley. We'll just fucking, we'll break his fingers and we'll, rip his balls off, right? and I'm honestly like this.
Little bit of poetic license.
I'm literally looking at him, right? And Wellesley goes, that is the best answer I've ever had. Tom Wood, that's exactly what we're going to go and do. Let's go outside, right? And honestly, I literally looked at him and I was like, you fucking idiot. Do not fuel the madman. You just feel, and honestly, Wellesley's warm-up game was one of us would hold a rugby ball and 4 other lads would have to get the ball off him, right? And if it didn't work, Wells would be like, just break his fingers. You're like, Wellesley, it's a warm-up of your own team, right? So honestly, I looked at Woody. Everyone just stopped as we walked out. Like, Woody, don't ever. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But honestly, Wellesley like skipped out because Leicester Norses. They loved it, like violence, punch each other in the face like a Leicester warm-up. So that was the one time he let himself down. He knew afterwards. He was like, I'm sorry, I just got in the heat of the moment. I was like, you're never going to rip anyone's balls off. You're never going to break anyone's arms because you fucking get sighted. He's like, I'm sorry. But Wellesley loved it.
What a man! That Johnson era is so defined by 2011 and the Stag doing Queenstown. Did you have some amazingly good times?
Honestly, I think if any other team had been like trolled the way we were, like it would have been 10 times worse. Like I don't want to just act like we were victims of something. We were in Queenstown and boys were having a good time. But I've heard like crazy stories about other teams like that were way worse. And obviously, when you're not successful, if we'd have gone on to win the World Cup, then no one would have cared, would they? We could have all just stuck our fingers up, laughed, and and that's how we do business. But because we were perhaps not as successful as we hoped to be, it's an easy out for everybody then.
What were your best days in an England jersey? What will you reminisce on in 25 years' time?
New Zealand game.
I love my debut.
Was that the
obviously,
Ashton scored, didn't he? 2011.
No, he got man of the match against New Zealand when we beat them, didn't you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I was thinking of the Wales game as well.
yeah,
Ashton. Man of the match against New Zealand. 2012?
No, the Wales game was away in Cardiff as my debut in Six Nations. I think Toby Flood got man of the match.
That was the one where Gatlin questioned Dylan.
Yes,
He said in the pre-match, he said, I think he's volatile.
Yeah, in the build-up.
And he played really
That's
well.
right, good memory. Yeah, I didn't remember that.
Part of being enormous.
But yeah, obviously that was just an incredible... I'd never played in an atmosphere like that before. That was just with the roof on and the high-walled stadium and just it full and, driving the bus down and people are hurling abuse and like smacking the bus and everything else.
What is it like as someone...
Wicked. I love it.
But I imagine that
full
is
siege
such
mentality.
a leap. That must be such a leap from anything else you'd experienced. Did you step into it and think, I belong here? Or was there a bit of, what the hell is this?
100%. I absolutely loved it, yeah.
Did you really?
I suppose like some people get nervous. I struggled with nerves in like an under-18s trial game once, and I don't know what it was, but I got like kind of sleepless about it. But then since then, I've never really struggled with nerves in games. And that game, I did feel ready because I guess the way the team kind of took me in, the way I like trained and prepared, I just felt ready to play, and I think I actually played better in that game than I'd been playing recently for my club. I just enjoyed it. I remember being in as we're singing the anthem, sort of. Some people are teary, some people are worked up and emotional. I remember actually having a look around the crowd and like taking a proper look up the stand and being like, wow, like how amazing is this? Like to be here and trying to find my mum and dad in the crowd and stuff, like not knowing where they might be sat. And obviously it's pretty impossible in a stadium like that. But I remember being conscious of those things and just being like...
You normally look up in that stadium, don't you? Get to one, you're looking for your family, then you sort of get to all the Welsh partners, the female birds. You're like, don't really move anywhere else apart from there. All tan to maximum. Obviously, it's single days, not now.
Yeah, not now.
Now I'm like that.
Yeah, blinkers. Literally blinkers.
There's laser into Chloe's eyes, but you normally look up and go, hello.
New Zealand 2012. I mean, you were a man possessed that day. Early charge down. What do you remember from?
I remember in the build-up. Everybody talking about New Zealand as if they're invincible, and I just remember it really getting my back up and just being like, maybe it was the familiarity from spending some time out there. I don't know, but I just had this kind of, we're showing them way too much respect. Obviously, a quality team. We don't have to talk about how good they are. The respect it goes without saying, but at the same time, like it's 15 blokes out on a pitch, and I didn't get how. We voluntarily taught them up in such a way that we were handicapping ourselves before we started. Yeah. And for some reason, like I just, there's a couple of rallying cries kind of in the media, and there was kind of an inner belief. I thought we'd win that game. I genuinely went into that game thinking we'd win it. And maybe a few of us did, and it rubbed off enough that it was one of those occasions where we got the job done. The best bit about it was how we shot ahead to like 15-0 or whatever it was. They came right back into it. It was 17-0, and then they kept, or 17-3.
It was 15-14.
They came right back into it, and it was like, good try, England. Like, I've watched so many games of New Zealand where a team comes flying out the blocks, really puts it on them, and you're like, they might do it here. But then the inevitable happens, and New Zealand get a foothold, and then they blow you away for the last 20 minutes. It ends up being like 40 points to 15, and you're like, well, good try. Yeah. But it to come back again and win it. I was lucky enough to be named man of the match, but there's some unbelievable performances on the day. I remember Brad Barrett was absolutely awesome. Manu was on fire. Likes of Ashton and Ben Young, all those guys were. Tom Youngs, tough as nails on that day, and Rob Shaw and it was just it was a team performance when it just came together on the day, and it felt like we won it twice with that comeback, and then to steady the ship and go again. Yeah, I got the absolute respect for likes of Richie McCaw, and they were heroes of mine growing up, like watching Richie McCaw. I remember watching him playing like Canterbury Crusaders and stuff as a kid, and I watched more of like the Super Rugby stuff than I perhaps did of English Premiership stuff, because there wasn't really a facility to watch it. Yeah. But the Super Rugby was on telly when I was a kid, and I'd get up early on Saturday morning and watch those games, and Richie McCaw was like an idol of mine, and Kieran Reid in that playing. But to see the look in their eyes and when they realised that they weren't going to win. Yeah. Or that they were like under massive pressure and it was going against them. I just remember being on the flank with the biggest smile on my face, thinking, "We've got them," and they've beaten us numerous times since. So it's not like it was just our day. It was just one of those days where it came together.
Talking of saying it as you see it, the Dave Ward Twitter spat.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Like, I got nothing against Dave. I've got no grudge or anything. Dave's a great player. Like, I've played against him numerous times. He's obviously got his skill sets.
Can you just elaborate on the story for those who potentially?
So I'll start at the start because most people probably won't know. But we had a little run in New Zealand, so there's a little bit of history there. On tour in New Zealand, 2014. I don't want to go into the whole detail of that because.
Training ground, hotel.
No. It's our
Team dinner.
It was literally last night of the last week, of our season. So we were playing the third test.
Yeah.
And by this stage, you knew who was in the team and who wasn't. And we were out for dinner midweek. And the non-23, it was the end of their season. So they were going to go and have a beer. They were going to go to dinner and then they were going to carry on. And they were already charging fairly hard. But the 23...
Stampede.
I was leading the binges, but yeah, of course I was, yeah.
Good point.
The 23 players that were going to take the field had one massive test against the All Blacks to play. And we'd come really close to beating them day one. Yeah. We'd not done a bad job out in Forsyth Bar week 2. And we'd lost a series, but there was some pride at stake. So it's still a massive game. Like we're not winding down, and the 23 were still prepping for that. Albeit we'd been out for a nice meal midweek. The likes of Dave Ward were finished for the season, and they were getting a bit mouthy, and they were saying a bit too much for my liking, and they were starting to abuse the 23 for leaving and heading home to get a good night's sleep so we can be ready for the game. He said he piped up to a couple of players on their way out, and I'm talking like 50 cappers, like Ben Youngs and people like Jeff Parlin, senior players within the team. And he was just running his mouth a little bit too much, and I called him out and basically said, look, if you got an issue, get up and get outside, we'll sort it. And I've never seen anyone fold and melt so quickly. Like, you'll attest to this.
Yeah.
He was like under the table, he wouldn't lift his head, wouldn't look at me.
It was one of those moments where it's like he's walked
fair
out.
dues. The chainsaw's revving in the background.
It's one of those things that you don't, like I said, straight talker. We had a conversation. Someone was throwing some shit around, right? And he's gone, I don't like what you said. You're going to shut the fuck, come outside, right? So my if someone offers you out, even if you know you get filled in, you've got to go. I love all that.
That is the etiquette of these things.
Well, I just think.
You've either got to apologise or you've got to go.
Yeah. I think you
apologise.
either go, listen, I've got to put my hand up and say, like, I'm really sorry. I stepped over the mark. I didn't mean it. And then we'll go, right, okay. But,
just out of interest, if you say outside and I come, is then on?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're not going to get through the door. I eat you before you get out the door.
But that's the thing. I'm slightly different. I had a situation.
You give a chance?
No, I went outside and we did a thing, and I was literally like, I took my jacket off and I was like, are we doing this?
Who was this with?
I'm not going to say, but
who was this with?
No, I'm not going to tell you. Said,
where was it?
No, I'm not going to tell you.
Is this in a rugby context or a social
rugby context? I said,
you said to a player, we're on.
No, this player was writing a lot of checks that he couldn't cash, and he was basically look. Listen, I'm one of these.
Top Gun 2.
I'm
out
one
next
of these people.
summer.
Look, a lot of people chop a lot of piss and get really steamy, and I am too. And they get steamy, and they say stupid things. Right? We've all got that mate who drinks 5 drinks and turns into a nightmare. I'm not a fighter. I don't think I'm particularly tough. But I wouldn't go around sitting at dinner with you guys going, I'll knock you out, Woody, I'll knock you out, right? We're red-blooded males, because eventually he's going to go either a walk off, he's going to go, no, you won't. And they go, come on then, I'm going to go, no, so joking. But I went, he's supposed to knock everyone out. I said, well, don't say that, we're having a good time. He goes, I'll knock you out. I said, well, you won't. And he goes, would you go outside? I went, yeah, fine, I'll go outside. Went outside, said, do you want to go? And he went, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then knocked him out, and then we just walked back inside.
With him on the pavement.
Well, I waited to make sure he wasn't dead, and then that was it. But then it was awkward because I walked back out.
Was it one, or was it a wrestler?
I genuinely don't know who he's talking about. So I'm interested to hear.
No, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
Why?
Because I felt terrible after. So I was like, I'm not really like that kind of person. I don't think I'm tough, by the way, at all. I get beaten up by your grandma. It's fine. But it was just one of those situations that he called call it out, and honestly, it was like this. It was like, have you dropped your car keys, mate? It's like literally looking under the table and then carry on. But it was one of those things where, like, if I'd done that and he called him out, I was like, I'm not going to fight. I'd be like, sorry, Woody, yeah, I'm out of order.
So it was a slow burn fuse from New Zealand.
No, so that had happened, and we hadn't really interacted since then. Like I say, I think he's a great player, and I've got nothing against him in general. But there was a terrible article written, which I had kicked off about post World Cup, where. Mate, after the World Cup, I was interviewed and I was in full Romanian kit. I was like in the Romanian number 10s kit. It didn't fit. Like, it was just like we've fucked this up. We've lost. We haven't achieved what we wanted to achieve. Like, our moment's gone. We're massively underperformed and we're all gutted. We were just having a beer and doing the right thing. We'd played Uruguayan game. We were doing the right thing. We were swapping shirts. We were trying to make the best of it. Our campaign was over. It was like, let's just have a beer, put a brave face on it, face the media, do what we've got to do.
Get out.
And this is just a bad situation that we can't make worse by cocking up. I've gone to do media. I fronted up because it was a tough time. And I've been asked loads of questions about the England captaincy. And I flat batted them as best as I could. And I was basically probed and probed and probed. And I said, look, ultimately, if somebody asks me, will you captain England? I will probably say yes, because I'd be mad not to. Now, that's not without reservation. I'd have lots of concerns. There's lots to think about. But ultimately, I think I'm the kind of person that would front up if directly asked, will you captain England? But I've not been asked. I'm not bitter about that. I think Chris has done a great job. I'm his willing lieutenant every opportunity I get. So, no issue. But the headline comes out, you know, Wood throws his hat in the ring for England captaincy kind of thing. And I was fuming with it. I basically phoned Chris straight away, messaged him, mate, there's a horrible headline. If you read the quotes, you'll see the crux of what was said. Mate, we've just got to batten down the hatches a little bit. I'm really sorry. It's a horrible thing to read. But no, I'm not knifing you in the back. Dave Ward, however, reads the headline, doesn't read the article, but comes out on Twitter publicly basically saying, if with friends like that, who needs enemies kind of thing, knifing me. Well, not knifing me, but basically calling me out. I was like, mate, is your phone on? I'll give you a bell. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Don't know what you're doing on here. He kept going. I was like, funny, I haven't seen you since you were under that table in New Zealand kind of thing. And he went back and forward, and he posted a clip of him stealing the ball off me in the Saints game. And I was just like, look, mate, I'm going to assume your account's been hacked at this stage. Like, and I was honestly really close to getting in the car and driving down to Guildford or whatever, and just having him in front of all of his mates. And I was fuming. I don't like social media interactions because they're incomplete and they're not nuanced and they're really difficult. But to just have that from somebody that had folded so readily face to face to then like the ultimate Twitter troll. And he got me bad. And I am sorry for that article because that was not a reflection of what was said. And I probably could have been a bit more savvy and not given anything.
Yeah.
But that's what sportsmen do these days because you don't want to expose yourself, so you just go flat back
and
the whole
the
way.
world is a poorer place for it.
And it's really boring. And I've always been somebody that will ultimately stand by what I say. I speak openly and try to talk to the press, and occasionally they go, "Oh, we can flip this into an awesome headline and make it really controversial." And I've been caught out with that a couple of times, and maybe I'm hard done by, or maybe I shouldn't have said what I said because I should have been more savvy, or maybe someone should read the actual article and not just the headline, and then we're all good.
None of it really matters, though, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I just hated throughout my time with England. I can't think of anything worse than being accused of knifing your captain.
No, I can see that.
Chris Robshaw was.
But I imagine Robert would have taken it exactly the way in which.
I really hope so. I think so. But like I'm saying with me and Haskell, our relationship at 6 and 7, myself and Chris played a lot of games together at 6 and 7, and I've got utmost respect for him as a player and a captain. And to have somebody call me out over social media, but then, not be able to smooth things over, have a proper conversation about it, or clear the air and basically clear my name because I didn't want that. But
also, Robbo is a very level-headed guy, and
he would have known
so
that.
Chris isn't the problem. It's the perception that everyone's got of me somehow, because perception's 9/10, and if people think that I'm loggerheads with it.
Forgotten it. I remember it now.
We forgot enough to fucking bring it up, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say only in getting ready had I. But it's like
I've got no grudges, and I've played against Dave since, and we've sort of nodded and shook hands, and there's no major animosity. But I was unbelievably disappointed with that, and if it had been within arm's length, I'd have lost it.
Have you seen the squad that Eddie Jones has named for Sunday's game?
I'd like to lie, but no. I have no idea.
So when you said at the start of the show, I'm going to get more into the rugby, the detail, we're going to talk more rugby on the show in the new series, 44 shows of rugby.
I want to see what the viewers
Have you seen Eddie Jones' squad that he is naming for the first of the Quilter Internationals?
Who is that?
Well, I haven't seen it.
He's named 33 men. Lewis is in there. Discuss.
Billy's
Is he going to go?
Billy, Wilson.
Is Lewis Ludlam going to go to the World Cup?
I think he should.
I think he might.
Yeah.
Cole, Cowan-Dickey, Curry, Ewells, Ellis Genge, Jamie George, Itoje Cruz, Launchbury, Laws, Ludlam, Marla Singh. Marla!
He loves it. The
We
comeback.
champed it. Do you think we put him back into international rugby?
No, I think he perfectly played the whole game, so he didn't have to do anything, and then just rolled
He's
straight into the
bloody
World Cup. Then he pulled
He
the
is
strings.
so much more on it.
Who
than
was
he
it? Someone
pretends.
else was going to. Because Ashley pulled out, didn't he?
Yeah.
But Ashley's waiting until someone gets injured towards the World Cup final, and then he'll step up and be the rescuer.
Go well, Joe. Sinclair, Singleton, Underhill, Vunipola, B. Vunipola, M. Williams, Wilson, Thockenham, Singer, Daly, Farrell, Ford, Francis, Hines. Willie Hines could be the fourth or fifth oldest England debutant of all time. There's a stat for you. Jonathan Joseph, Joe Marchant, Johnny May, Rory McConaughey, Henry Slade, Manu Tulangi, Anthony Watson, Ben Youngs.
Can't believe there's no Danny Cipriani.
Have you spoken to him?
Have you?
And?
I mean, he's obviously not that happy. I think it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was probably ever going to take him. Maybe.
It's the hope that kills you.
It's just, I think, with all that situation, at some point maybe someone will come out and say why exactly what it is. I've got my certain
Remember Stephen Donald.
Yeah, that's
Whitebait fishing.
Yeah.
Drunk, hauled out of the river, stuffed into a kid's shirt which barely reached his navel, won a World Cup.
Yeah, I think. Look,
Keep the faith.
I think the other guys are fantastic. I just think it'll be interesting that people have said that. We haven't really. There was some fitness issues, wasn't there? Or when he went away. And
Were
then,
there?
Well, that's what it said. I don't know. We haven't had a debrief really, but I think the most important thing in these situations is kind of not to really detract from the squad. What's been done is done, really.
Time for this week's Guinness Perfect Pour. Welcome back to the Guinness Perfect Pour. Our weekly test in 119.5 seconds, because that's how long it takes to pour the perfect pint. What did you think of the idea that went into the WhatsApp group this weekend?
Loved it. Really good. I think it's been quite fun, entertaining.
Cryptic.
Yeah.
We'll come back on that.
Still trying
definitely the first show of a 44 run because we haven't actually managed to get it sorted out. But this week, why don't we pick an England 15 to take on Tonga?
Tonga! We knew that. I've been to Tonga.
So do we want to pick the team for the first game or the best team?
Okay, who is the best? So England
in the final.
England make the quarterfinals. There's a hypothetical. Who's your loose head? Marla. Genuinely? Mako,
sorry.
Okay, this is for a quarterfinal. England made it through. Hooker.
James George.
Tight head. Dan Cole.
Stinkler.
Or Stinkler. I've actually written Stinkler. Your second row combination, 4 and 5.
Courtney
at 4. You can have Joe Launchbury. You can have Marrow. You can have
Go courts and launches.
George Cruz.
He's going to go courts and launches.
I think that's
Courts and launch.
Or maybe what about Marrow? Courts and Marrow.
So you haven't got to... Wait, so...
I
we
think
put Marrow
that-
at 6.
Sorry, are we picking what we think it should be or what we think it will be?
What you wanted to be.
Oh, okay.
Does that change anything? Mako, George,
Better go with
Stinkler,
Courtney
Courtney Launch.
So
you could have Marrow at 6?
I just think they might play Courtney at 6.
Okay.
Okay, so you're putting Marrow into the second row or you're putting George Cruz into the second row?
I think Marrow will start.
Yeah, put Marrow in the second
Marrow
row.
in the second row. So you're putting Courtney at 6.
Yeah.
7.
Curry.
Underhill, Curry. Billy. So no Underhill.
I'd like to see Luds from a
On
biased
the
point of view, but I think they're more likely to go with Curry.
Youngs.
Yeah.
10 Faz. Or Ford.
That's what I was thinking.
Are you?
Well, I mean, what do I know?
This is your team. You are in charge of England's selection.
I'd go Faz.
Faz, all right.
We'll come back to 11, 14, 15. Who are your centre combination?
Tio and Manu.
So we're not going subtle again.
Yeah.
Mano and Slade, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Manu and Slade.
Yeah, no maybes. I need names.
All right, fuck. Woody's the guest.
Yes.
Well, I don't know really. I don't know anything about backs. So I just
All I know is that they don't do anything that we do. They have a time of life. They get paid more and they don't get
Daly
beaten
at
up.
15.
Yeah.
Your wingers are
Johnny May,
Johnny
Jack
May.
Noel.
really no Thockenham Singer.
It's a big call, but I'm biased because I've played alongside. I haven't played alongside Joe.
We'll put
I've played alongside the other two, and I like
Smoking
them.
Joe on the bench.
Yeah.
I rate them too.
So are you going Tio and Mano? Are you going Tio and Slade? Are you going Mano and Slade?
I personally, I love Slade. If I was going to create a team, I'd just have
15 Henry
mental
Slades.
units. Yeah, no, I'd have.
You'd go big.
I'd have Mako. Would have Mako.
Sorry, this is the idea of the game that you create the
Yeah,
England
fine.
team.
I'm just saying. I would have Tio and Manu and Jack
Okay.
Noel, and I love Jack Noel. He's unbelievable. Might put Cockensinger just.
I
'cause
like
he's an
his
absolute unit.
peroxide hair as well.
Yeah, he pulls
Robbie
off.
Williams,
He looks really good.
1996.
And also, I'm gutted that he's got away with that Red Bull thing. Because for years I wanted to do something similar to that, and he's got away with that Red Bull sponsorship scrum cap.
What does that tell you about him?
What, it's clever and savvy.
Yeah. That was the Guinness Perfect Pour. Perfection in every way. I'm sure you'll agree. It says here, that's it for this week. Good to be back, question mark.
If I'm not back next week, it's fine.
I literally feel we've only scratched the surface of where we could go with Tom Wood. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
Will you come back for another one?
I'm sure I could manage it.
Good.
Haskell me a lift down this time.
Are you taking him back home?
Yeah,
Good.
in the roller.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Should have brought the uni mug down.
Yeah, they've lent me I've got a roller for
Who's
a
lent
month.
you a roller?
Rolls-Royce. Got a Rolls-Royce Ghost at the moment.
Is that because you're
I'll
DJing
bring
at their
the
event?
ear defenders and everything. And
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go back in the
Wait.
uni mug next time.
The Unimog, ear defenders, mask,
Respirator.
the petrol smell, the diesel. Now we're going back in luxury.
I mean, as brand affinities go, you with Rolls-Royce. Royals?
Don't fit, does it?
That's
100%
ridiculous.
does.
It was better when you were JCB. I was much.
No, I still got JCB, but you know,
I was a much bigger fan of the JCB.
yeah. But the
Jack's
roller,
left.
me and
Jack
the
has
roller.
left the building. Jack's just like, please stop.
Wrap it then.
Thank you for watching and thank you for listening to House of Rugby. It is very nice to be back up. We have genuinely got a very exciting 44 shows to come.
left.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks,
yeah.
thanks
Oi,
for coming, Tom.
Wood by name, Instagram.
Wood by name.
Wood by name. Give him a follow.
Yeah, give him a follow.
See some-
Get your orders in.
see some projects.
We are a YouTube show, remarkably. We're also a podcast. Don't forget to download and watch our boxing show, TKO with Carl Frampton. Get well soon, Carl. And to subscribe to Liquid Football with Kelly Cates. I think they've got a better name. Liquid Football.
Probably got a better set, better everything. Just wrap it up.
We've got a script.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
we need to go.
one's
That
stood wall
show
and
launches
MDF,
tomorrow.
so-
Do get stuck in. Thank you to Hask. Thank you to Tom Wood. See you next week. Have a good one in the meantime.
You've been watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk for the facts.